Hello world, welcome back once again to the UnChristian Network, and you are on Intimate Moments with. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Click on that subscribe button, click on the notification bell so that you do not miss out on anything that we have for you. We appreciate your support. You're helping us to grow. Thank you so much. We are on the road right now to 10,000 subscribers. We've got good things coming for you, and we are committed to bring you the absolute best content every week. My name is Sibu Hlatshwayo. I am the host of this platform. Thank you so much once again. I don't know where you are. Maybe you're at the gym listening to this, and you're in the car, maybe you're at home watching and listening. Whatever you're doing, I appreciate you giving us time to join you in your space. Today, I've got an amazing guest. As always, we've got an amazing conversation that we are going to have. And ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, make some noise for Mr. Sibu Hlatshwayo. Sir, welcome.
Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Fantastic. I'm very happy to be here. Very happy to be here.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Finally, we did it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm happy we could manage.
Yeah.
In the end, we could manage.
I appreciate your time. To me, because we serve in the same church, he is Elder Sibu. He's my elder. Okay. To you, he's not Sbu. He's Sibu.
That's right. That's right.
Management made it very clear to me.
Management is very strict.
You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, you better put some respect on his name. You know what I'm saying?
Thank God for management.
Yes, sir. We're going to learn so much about you. We're going to learn so much about what you do as well, but also how and why you do it. That's what we do on this particular show. The first question I ask everyone who comes on this show, and not as a greeting, is, how are you?
No, I'm very well. I'm doing well. It's all in a day's work.
Yeah.
I always remark to management that when we have to work, we work.
Yes, sir.
We only rest afterwards.
Yeah.
So we've got a little tagline to say half man, half machine.
Yes, sir.
So
that is you.
when we're working, is the machine working?
Yeah.
And then when you're resting, is the man working?
Yeah.
So I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
I'm glad. At this point, as I'm talking to you, I don't know when this is going to air, but we're shooting now in October, end of October.
Yeah.
I come from a very bad period, right? In the past few weeks,
Yeah.
I crashed.
Yeah.
I burnt out.
Yeah. I saw you took a sabbatical, right? It took like 3 weeks.
I had to.
Yeah, but that's good. Self-care.
I was in trouble.
Yeah.
I had no choice.
There's no choice.
It's only now
Self-care.
I'm applying self-care so that I don't repeat the cycle.
No, that's very important.
You know what I'm saying?
I've been through that. Yeah,
mental health is a critical aspect of our lives.
Absolutely.
But also I'm living with mental health challenges, and I'm going to therapy and treatment for all of that.
Yeah.
And I'm vocal about my journey on that as well. It's important to educate others. But I come from a very hard period. But in your life, have you had an encounter with bad mental health? Or something that just rocked you, and you fell into anxiety or depression or something like that? And how did you get out of it?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think that, when it comes to mental health, especially from the background that we have, it's a stigma, right?
Oh, of course.
So, imagine dealing with something that you cannot tell anybody about, where the actual antidote is telling somebody about it.
Man.
So, if you cannot tell anybody about it, you are stuck. Because that's actually the conduit for you getting the solutions for it,
Talking.
So, a couple of years ago, I think everything converged, it converged, I've never spoken to a psychologist before.
Hey!
Okay. Because all my life I thought that, you can manage. I grew up in a very positive home.
Sure.
A very loving family.
Sure.
So mental health was fun, man. I was managing. And I think about 2016, 2017, it was tough. Man, I call it the convergence.
Sure.
Because on the one hand, you've got work. which was for some reason a very difficult moment. I mean, I was busy with a lot of projects. I had a lot of pressure on myself. I was studying. I was doing the MBA at the same time. And then I had family, you know, and so I think leading up to 2018, I started to realize that, hey, there's a thing like this, you know. And if you don't know what you're going through, you can't detect it. So I remember one moment I was driving to the office, and you just feel the weight of the world, right?
Telling you.
And then I think I was passing, I was watching William Nicole, and I thought of just making a U-turn. You just want to go back home.
Exactly.
You know, and
the fact
sit.
that you even got out of bed was an achievement, number one.
And that's when you start to detect that something is wrong, you know. But then you start to talk to people. I was fortunate to have the family support, to have some friends. When I was talking to them, I says, I feel like making a change. And then, but so we've just made a change. You know, so we've just got a new job, and why do you want to make a change? There's something wrong. You know, you need to dig deep. And I had to talk to a couple of people, but I had to seek professional help too. You know, and so that helped. That helped. My executive coach helped. Because that at least we could manage the work-life balance with the studies. But you know, I remember this period very clearly because in 2018 January I decided I'm going to balance my life, and that's when I started a new hobby, which was collecting classic cars. And I always remember that moment because it didn't come from just I'm a car enthusiast, but it didn't just come out of that. It came out of the realization that I was just living like a robot. And I needed to have time for myself. And I picked intentionally a hobby, and I started from scratch.
It's funny that we even get out of touch. I mean, we get out of touch. We get out of touch with the stuff that makes us happy, stuff that will fill us. We don't even know what we enjoy anymore.
Absolutely. You become numb. You become really numb. And the worst part is when you don't know how to pray anymore. And
I was about to touch on that.
When you don't know how to pray anymore.
And they say, just pray about it, brother.
Just pray.
Seek
I
God's
don't know
face,
how.
man.
No, I don't know how. You know, I just don't know how. And I learned two things. I learned three actually. I learned to speak to a professional. You know, to really admit. I learned to balance my life. I learned to say, hey, I need something for myself. That has got nothing to do with work, with church, with, let's say, the broader family, but just Sibu, just myself, just you know, man. To be sensitive again, you know, and you need people that are going to pray for you. But I learned also to tell God how I was feeling. You see, I think all the life, the relationship I was having with God was one of performance. You know, one of performance where God will bless me if I'm doing this. I'm trying to live right.
What can I do for God?
That. Absolutely. And in that period of my life, I used to say to God, I can't pray. Can we talk? Can we have a conversation?
Did it shake your sense of identity as a Christian, as a child of God at the time? I can't pray. I don't feel this intimacy with God, but do you still feel Christian? Do you feel still worthy? Or it was not?
In the beginning, you don't, because you don't realize that no matter what you do, the Bible says that there's nothing that can separate you from the love of God. You know, not higher, not lower, not by the side. You know, the love of God is insurmountable. But remember, when you're going through the early days of the journey or early time, you judge yourself too much. And there's also the expectation. You know, you grow up in a Christian home. You grow up under love. There are expectations. You are working well. You are serving in the church. And you've got a family. So people look up to you. So for people like that, it's not easy, you know, to come back and say, I'm actually struggling with this.
To be weak and vulnerable.
To be vulnerable, you know. So I think that, I mean, one day I once gave a lady at church, a friend of mine, 100 rand. She was really working hard in church. And she was always at church, always at work or at church, working really hard. And one day I had this revelation that I took 100 Rand note and I walked up to her and Dumiso and said, I want to give you this. And she said, why? She's working well. I mean, she's earning good money.
It's not that she needed
very professional. I said, no, because God has just told me something. When we look at people like you, we don't think that they need anything.
Wow, yes, sir.
So I want to give you this to let you know that God sees you. That even though you look like a rock, like you are taking care of that, I know from experience that, you know, you need some people to look out for you.
That's right.
And so it was all those moments. So absolutely, I mean, mental health. Man. Today it's easy.
Yeah.
Let me not say it's easy. Today I'm much more in touch with myself.
Great.
With my emotions.
Great.
I am able to express, to say when I'm happy, when I'm sad, exactly how I'm feeling. You know, you realize that people. I had a conversation with my sister. I must tell you this. So one time she phones me and she says, "Hi, how are you doing? How's it going?" And then because now I'm mature and I can be vulnerable and I'm not afraid anymore, right? I said to her, "No, I'm not okay." She's like, "You should have seen the." Okay, so what should we do? Should we do something? Should I call mom? Should I call dad and my older sister? Should we call some? I said, no. You asked me how I'm doing. I'm telling you how I'm doing. I'm just expressing how I'm doing. I'm not asking you yet to do something.
That's right.
You know, right. But we are so used to saying, how are you doing? And say, I'm okay. You know, but I mean, the society is not used to, let's say, they ask a question where they expect sort of like the answer that they expect.
That they want.
And when you change, it's like society does not know how to deal with people who are not okay.
Yeah. And what you're raising is very important. We don't always need solutions from the people close.
Absolutely.
We just need, can you sit with me in the mud?
Yeah.
In this mess. Can you just sit
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. But to give people a little bit more info about you, you are the managing director of a multinational company.
Yeah.
Did you found that? Is that company you started? Or?
Oh no.
Okay.
No.
So so you worked through. Cool. And you do work in a number of African countries. So you are a business executive, and I believe it's in the manufacturing of building material.
Yeah. Construction chemicals. Yes.
Awesome stuff. Yeah. And now you are definitely branching out fully into the speaking, into the empowerment game. And I suspect a book in the near future as well.
I have comments. I have comments. When is the book coming?
You know what I'm saying? You're passionate about talking about leadership, about youth and development.
Yeah.
But let's start a bit about your professional life and all of that. Have you always had a business mind, or have you just landed here by mistake?
Look, I don't know. I think. Look, let's go back to the beginning.
Let's go.
Let's go back to the beginning to create some context.
To Komati-Poort.
Let's go back to Komati-Poort.
Yes.
Let's go back to Komati-Poort. And I was born there. I was raised there.
Yeah.
I always start like this.
Yeah.
I grew up in the township.
Yes, sir.
Because that sounds powerful.
Of course. Street cred.
I was practicing.
Street cred. You know what I'm saying?
I grew up in the township.
Come on.
And then people listen.
Yeah.
Because people see you like this in suits and ties now, and they don't know where you come from.
Right.
I come from a background where we grew up in the township called Nas Township. Back in the day, we didn't do. The previous government didn't do informal settlements that we do now, but they used to have a slab, and then they used to put like amazanke, man.
Okay.
And they used to call it in my township. We used to call it ilkokoko. Ilkokoko. It's like a shack.
Even in KZN, we call things like that.
Yeah.
And we call them amazozo, imkuku.
Exactly.
Endangered.
So 1984. I mean, that's what I was born into. And during New Year's Eve, we didn't have money for fireworks, so we just took logs and you hit kokoko. You hit your house to make the noise, to celebrate New Year's.
Wow.
And so I grew up not materially rich, but spiritually wealthy.
That's awesome.
And emotionally wealthy, with a lot of love.
Yeah.
It didn't matter at the time. My dad and mom used to sleep on the one side, and we used to have a curtain in between.
Wow,
And I used to sleep on the kitchen side,
yeah.
with my sister. And that's basically where I come from.
Okay, just to interrupt you there on your upbringing and your background, what is the earliest memory of childhood that you think this was formative, this was important for who I am today? The earliest memory that you can remember that, man, for who I am today, I think that played a very significant role.
I think, I'll mention something very, let's say, I won a debating contest at school.
Nice. How old were you? Which grade?
I was like, look, I was in grade, what is called today, grade 10.
Yeah.
But remember, I skipped 2 grades. They used to promote kids back then.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I did
Smart
like,
kids.
I did grade 5 and 4. I'm converting now in my head in 1 year.
Nice.
And then I did another grades like that. So
Sure.
I must have been, I don't know, 12, 13.
Yeah.
And I was in grade 8 and I was competing, grade 10, I was competing with grade 11 and 12 in the school. So as a grade 10, I won a debate and I had a speech.
Yeah.
And I was talking about, I can't remember what I was talking about, but it was around what you can do better for the country, something like that.
Awesome.
And I think that moment in terms of just being in front of people, leading, talking about issues, and leading that way. I mean, I think that's an experience that is always in my mind.
Clicks in your head.
It clicks in my head.
Sure.
When I remember my past childhood.
Yeah. One of the memories I have is me, is my dad taking me to the taxi rank with a bakkie full of mangoes and sometimes full of peaches and selling. For the entrepreneur.
For the entrepreneur, yeah.
It's one of the very earliest memories I have. And we would be there.
Yeah.
And I went to schools that are called Model C schools. So in the beginning, it was like, oh my word, I hope no one sees me. I hope no one. I felt kind of embarrassed and kind of.
You're making money.
You know
what
I'm saying? But through that. Through those seasons, my dad was able to solidly provide for the family.
Yeah.
And these days when it's hard, I find myself thinking back to that.
Yeah.
It's just one of the formative memories for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you were telling me about your background. Please continue.
No. So I think very similar. We sold mangoes too at home. So
Nice.
I've been through that, and I think I have that. In terms of just being people-centric,
yes,
it's got a lot to do with my parents.
Nice.
And how we were raised. We were raised just to look inward, not to compete, but to be happy with what we had. So with the little that we had back then, we managed.
Sure.
Schooling was a priority.
Sure.
My mother was a teacher, and my dad was a clerk at an attorney's office in Komatipoort.
Nice.
And really, we were raised out of love, and they tried everything under the sun.
Nice.
So I think also when it comes to the entrepreneurial business side, it comes from them, because from an early age, whatever you can think of, we sold at home. Just tell me. Ice blocks, we sold.
Same thing
Ice
here,
creams,
bro.
we sold.
There was never a time my parents were not selling anything.
Sweets, absolutely. Sweets and all this until my mom got into Evolution Cosmetics. I think that took off quite well.
Sure.
But basically, that was the entrepreneurial side. So
awesome.
Didn't grow up with much, but grew up with a lot.
Yes.
And that shaped me.
Yeah.
So growing up at school, I loved debating. I loved community work.
Sure.
And then I came to Johannesburg, right? In Johannesburg, studied at Doornfontein at the campus, chemical engineering.
Which
Ended
university?
up doing it was Wits Technicon at the time. Yeah. And then
UJ now, right?
UJ now, what is UJ now? Did chemical engineering there. Ended up in 2016 with an MBA. So that's sort of like that's sort of like the track.
Yeah.
But what is really interesting is then when I came into the workplace, all right, I thought that, I've done work now. I'm going to now sit in the office and I will enjoy, right? And when I joined one of the companies that was actually making cement at the time, another multinational, I mean, when I arrived first day, they gave me overalls and they gave me boots.
They did not respect your MBA.
No, they didn't respect my craft, man. They didn't respect my education, these guys. And they said, well, go and make the cement with your hands. A little mill, a little, like pallet. So I was phoning my dad. I was like, I was supposed to have a phone, my own. I don't even have an office. Why did I go to school? I mean, how do I study something where I need a hard hat, which is dangerous, right? I needed all of that. But, my dad was like, wow, you are doing this. This is fantastic. I'm going to tell them in Komatipur tomorrow that my son is doing that, At some point, I had to work night shifts. Shifts. With all the education in the world, you have to work shifts. And each time I called my father, I said to him, they're even making me work shifts now. He said, wow, I am from Namukulile man. He even works at night. This is great. He's a grown man. So every time I had an issue about let's say when my expectations were not met, my parents always grounded me step by step. Just because you don't have a Porsche today does not mean you're not going to have it tomorrow.
That's right.
And I started in the workplace. I was fortunate to work for some incredible human beings, that taught me anything from industrial to commercial, now to strategy, and I really started with boots and all. And last year I got this role as number one, awesome, managing director. And it sort of like all came together.
It's amazing.
And all my life, it's sort of like been building up to this step. Of course, there's much more to look forward to, but I think it's a step to acknowledge that coming from that kind of background throughout all the years, with the grace of God, with effort, with a lot of support, a child from a humble village who grew up without toys, who was taking a brick and pretending it's a bus, and taking an empty can, used to make it flat to pretend as if it's a car, can actually grow up and become somebody.
That's amazing.
And that's why now I'm very passionate about youth empowerment, because nobody ever makes it, but there's no reason why to wait until I feel like now I've made it, right? To start giving back, to start plowing back, to start having a positive voice that could encourage other people out there that are on that journey, whether it's career, whether it's business, whether it's family, whatever it is, just to bring back the positivity into people's lives.
And I know there's more you can say on this particular question I'm about to ask, but what could be 3 things that you would tell a young professional who's getting started, they're in the workplace, they come with this degree and they're thrown with a hard hat or, proverbially, and they're put in a situation where, man, do these people know what I studied?
Exactly.
This is not what I pictured. But what 3 things can you advise a young professional to do intentionally now that definitely is going to yield fruit 10 years time, 15 years time?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and I mean, I've got mentees which inspire me. So I have these discussions on a monthly basis with them.
Great.
And the first thing is, I mean, when you come into the workplace, you've got the paper, yes, but you don't have the experience.
Umsebenzi awazi kahle.
You don't know. I know where you come from. They've told you that you know, but you don't know. So the first thing is, really, especially in this day and age, be humble. You're going to learn from people that are not, I mean, when I joined the business, the people that were teaching me the basics, they had not even finished matric.
Goodness. Your ego could have easily said, I'm more accomplished. Why am I going to report to you?
But the guys know the basics, because every kind of job has got basics. So look at it. Be humble. The first thing I would say, be humble. You are starting out. Be humble. Your beginning is not your end.
Come on.
And what your paper allows you to do is to go further.
Come on.
But everybody starts in the same place.
Yes, sir.
You can't cheat the start. You can't cheat the starting line. You can go further with what you've got.
Yeah.
But you have to. Everybody starts in the same place.
Oh, man.
So the first thing I tell them is be humble.
Yeah.
Learn as much as you can, particularly at a young age when you don't have a lot of responsibilities. Pour in yourself and invest. And then the second thing is really be consistent. Be consistent. Consistency is a principle that I live by.
Oh yeah.
Even today.
Yeah.
People must know what you stand for.
Yeah.
And you must be consistent about that.
And it must be predictable
It must be predictable.
Yeah.
They must know that you will make the effort, that you are going to be there, and so that people can depend on you. Because how do you learn in the workplace when you've just started? You get more projects that expose you. That expose you.
I get you.
So you want to be consistent because the consistency allows you to be reliable. You are always available. You are always there. Your effort is intense.
Got you.
Your level of work is right there. So if you're humble and you're consistent, I mean those two things will make sure that you get a brilliant slot.
Sure.
And then the third one is, which is not just for the start, but be eager to learn. Be eager to learn. There's no problem that's not solvable. But be eager to learn. And don't rest. I used to tell my mentees like this a long time. So when they were starting out, and I would come into the room, and I would find them reading U magazines and Drum. There used to be drums. Drum still there?
Still
Drum
there.
magazine and People and Living.
Yeah.
And then I would say, you are a mining engineering candidate. You should be reading Mining Weekly.
Right.
Quarrying South Africa.
Right.
Okay? And then I used to see the young accountants graduates, and then I would find them just looking at something that's not. I said, you should be reading CFO South Africa.
Yes.
That's what you should be reading.
Yes.
Because when you are eager to learn, you perfect your craft.
Right.
I tell them, my mentees inspire me a lot because they ask me. I tell them, look, guys, you need to think about this way. When Lionel Messi comes to South Africa, right? You are gonna go and pay money to go and watch a person play football.
Correct.
He spends his day in the training field from Monday to Friday. 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is. You're gonna watch him. Can he come watch you work?
Come on.
You're a CA. You need to build your craft to that point
Hey.
where a Lionel Messi somewhere now is in America, Inter Miami, whatever.
Yeah.
He knows about the mining engineer that works for Anglo in South Africa because you are that good.
Come on.
So the level of intensity he brings to practice every day is the same level of intensity you must bring in your craft.
Oof.
So they used to laugh at me because I used to make this Lionel Messi thing very often. I used to talk about Lewis Hamilton and whatever. I said, I don't want to watch a guy who can't watch me.
Hey, you must be watchable.
I must be watchable. I must be watchable. The guys must
deep.
say, as managing director today, as business leader, so I will not have the same fame, let's say, as Lewis Hamilton racing a car.
Of course, yeah. There's so much you can say about this that I'm going to ask, but what 3 things could you advise a young professional who's just starting out, coming into the workspace, 3 things they can implement and make part of their value system that will give them fruit 10 years' time, 15 years' time?
No. So, I mean, that's a very good question. I mean, I have mentees, and my mentees are the ones that inspire me. And I share from the book, from a private book with my mentees, basically.
I want to dig into that. Your mentees are the ones that inspire you.
No, they do. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Because I'll answer the 3 things now.
Let's
but,
go for it.
why do I say my mentees inspire me? It's because, I was working for myself, for my own progress.
Yeah.
And I would be sitting and I would just be talking.
Yeah.
And like this.
Yeah.
At work, at home, at church, wherever. But then the people be like, Sibu, that makes sense. That is like, but for a long time, I wouldn't take it that is significant,
right.
that it matters. For me, this is if you find me on a Saturday, this is what I'm talking about. I'm not.
It's just normal for you.
There's no planning. There's no there's no planning. It's just a conversation.
Yeah.
And so the reason why I say they inspire me is because they're able to draw the things out of me and make them into something. Because when they start saying to me what I said to them, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Who said that? No, you said that. I mean, I get calls today in Dumi. So guys calling me said, Sibu, you said I must study. When? In 2013. You put us all in a room. And you said, I put 20 people in a room. Just random meeting. They're telling me now. I did this 10 years ago. I don't remember. And then you said those who don't have matric, there's ABET in the company.
Yeah.
You are going to study.
Yeah.
Those who got matric are going to do their diplomas and their degrees. Those who got degrees are going to do, just like that.
Yeah.
Because you must study.
Okay.
You must invest in yourself.
Sure.
I'm people centered.
Right.
And I understand that we produce results for our businesses.
Yeah.
But the legacy for me is people.
Because this was going to be a next question I asked.
Yeah.
Is education all it's cut out to be? Like, is it that important? Education. I mean, when you talk about learning is wide. You can learn everywhere. But education itself, schooling, how really important is it? It seems like you are an advocate for it.
I believe in education. I believe anybody who can study must study. And I'm not talking about formal education here only.
Yeah.
I'm talking about just the ability to learn.
Right.
The problem is that in our society today, when you say education, people think about going to school and getting a degree. But I'm talking about the attitude of continuous learning.
Right.
Whether you get a piece of paper or you don't, if you can get a piece of paper, great. But the attitude of learning, you can't do without. Because education is exactly that. You see, we say education, people think degree. You know the Bible. It talks about the story where the Pharisees were like, how do these men know so much without being taught? They were taught in the synagogues, the word.
Right.
But these ones were educated by the Spirit. They knew the truth.
Yes.
So education for me is not synonymous with just only the degrees. It's synonymous with just getting educated, getting knowledge, learning. So I believe in that absolutely. But if you are able to get yourself educated formally, by all means, I encourage that.
Sure.
So it's like an ingredient. Education on its own, it's like baking a cake, is not be all end all. Because nothing in life ever needs one thing.
Right.
Success is not just, I met somebody and then I was successful, or I took this job, then I was successful.
Sure.
It's a mesh of many elements, and education is a useful one.
Yes.
As much as other excess opportunities that you can put in there.
Yeah. So give me those 3 things that you would advise a young professional on.
So back to my mentees, I tell them, be humble. You've started out, be humble. When I joined the business just over 20 years ago, I learned from people who were less educated than me. And they taught me the basics, because every job has got a basic.
Yeah. Your ego could have stopped you from learning.
Absolutely. From them. You could have judged the people. You could have said, no, they don't know. But they know that test. They know that process. And that process does not need a PhD, huh?
Yeah.
But you need to know the process.
Yes.
But it does not need a PhD.
Yes.
Your PhD is going to come to life. Don't worry. Right?
Yeah.
So be humble and learn from everybody.
Yes.
And focus on the fact that once you have the ability to go further, you all start at the same place. At the bottom. So the potential just says, okay, you can take 3 steps, another person can take 20 steps, but man, the staircase starts at the bottom.
We don't want to start at the bottom. We want to start at the place where we are driving the Porsche Cayenne. That's where we want to start.
That's what you want to do, right? It naturally doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
You have to understand the power of the seed. The power of small things, the power of small beginnings. Everything starts like that.
Come on.
And if you really reflect, you see that it starts like that. So you need to be humble and be patient with the process of learning. The second thing is being consistent. Being consistent, showing up. You know, and under consistency, there's a lot. There's discipline. There is just showing up. There's being available. Just being there. You'll be amazed at the level of effort some people put and some people don't put. And in the workplace, managers, leaders are looking for people they can depend on to execute the strategy. And if you show yourself up as consistent, I'm here, I'm available, I want to do this, it's going to go a long way, and not just in the beginning, but going further.
And availing yourself to do things you were not asked to do.
Absolutely.
Where can I help? What can I do?
What can I do? Showing initiative, just being there, you know.
Yeah.
And then the third one, which is linked to the education piece, is being eager to learn, continuous learning, because learning allows you to solve problems. You know, organizations exist because they are here to solve problems.
Sure.
You've got a BMW, a Mercedes-Benz. People have forgotten that actually there was a problem in the world. What was the problem? Transportation.
Right.
Now it's become maybe a status symbol, whatever. But remember, it's solving a problem. You know, a cell phone. So now people are like, I have an iPhone, I have this. They've forgotten that the problem that's being solved here is communication. Now we get stuck too much on maybe the physical stuff. So organizations exist to solve problems. And what do you need inside the organizations are people who can solve problems. And people who can solve problems are the ones who can continuously learn. That's how you add value.
That's right.
How you change the status quo. So I said to them, be humble. Don't rush. Be patient. You're going to get to where you're going to. You're probably going to get further. But you have to go step by step.
Great.
Be consistent. Be there. You know, there's so many distractions in life today, but you have to overcome all of that to continuously show up. And then the third one, like I say, is continuous learning. Be eager to learn so you can solve problems.
So being someone who's in touch with the other nations of Africa, in this continent of ours, what do you think is something we don't know as South Africans about our own continent? And just to get a part two of that answer would be, how do you feel about the continent and its trajectory going forward?
I'm passionate about Africa.
Come on.
Oh, man. I'm passionate about Africa. And part of why I joined the company I work for now was because I had the opportunity to travel into Africa. You know? And having traveled the world also, or part of the world, I mean, France, Egypt, let's say, Austria, all this, Switzerland. And now I wanted to travel in Africa. You know, and I mean, the continent is immense with opportunity.
Come on.
You know, it's immense with opportunity. It has got a young population.
Yes.
It's got a deficit of infrastructure. We still have to build things here.
You
know, I get excited when I go to a country and I see how much still needs to be built. And we can be part of that. You know, but most of all, I mean, the African spirit is incredible. I travel the world over. It's fantastic. It's great. But every time I come home, you know, I wish to do some of those things where you go down and you kiss the ground and stuff like that. But there is an African spirit that is so unique. You know, in the continent.
What is the nature of that African spirit?
It is intertwined with the spirit of Ubuntu.
Right.
We describe it in South Africa as spirit
Ubuntu.
of Ubuntu.
Get you.
If you don't understand that not the whole world works like that, you think that it's normal to have, let's say, the kind of extended family ties that we have, the kind of communities that we have. It's not like that.
Right.
You know, we grew up with the thing that a village raises a child. This is unique. It's not just in Africa, but not the whole world works.
Does that?
So it's got the spirit of Ubuntu. It's got the spirit of independence. You know, of self-determination. Yes, you don't see it in some countries. It's not obvious, but I can tell you now. I go to Nigeria, and I'm blown away. It's a tough country. It's a difficult business environment. It's tough economically. But man, when you are there, the spirit of can do, the spirit of self-reliance, you know, Nigerians are just reliant on themselves.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
look, you can put them anywhere in the world. You know, they eat what they eat, they wear
yes.
what they wear, they speak the way they
Yes,
speak.
yes, yes,
And,
yes.
and I'm inspired by that authenticity,
Awesome.
that self-reliance. You know, I go to Ghana, and you're just there. You just feel the spirit of that country. That here is a people that have got self-determination. They know what they're going to do. It's not perfect. Of course, it's not perfect. But this is a continent that we are on. Is a continent that we can build. And
That's
I'm
amazing.
Absolutely
amazing.
passionate about it. Rich in minerals.
Very, very
rich.
We just need to manage them better and make sure that they are benefiting us more than those who actually mine and process them. We need to process our own minerals.
No, it's true. It's true. It's true. But you know, and Dumis, I'll tell you that, and it's not unique to the African problem. Last week, I posted something on LinkedIn. I said the greatest threat to sustainability or climate change is the idea that somebody is going to save. So we are all talking about the African opportunity, the African gap, the African spirit. But until we have micro people starting to really make micro changes, you know, we're not going to see a lot of movement.
Yes.
So I'm a big advocate for doing the little that you can in the space that you're in to make a difference.
Yes, sir.
Because little becomes a lot.
Yes.
You know, so I think for me, what I would like to see about Africa is just the African spirit taking the solutions into their own hands.
Definitely hear
you
you on
know,
that.
I can do it. I want to do it.
Yes.
Rather than always just benchmarking is good.
Yeah.
But remember, we have a responsibility to build our continent.
I get you.
So that's the best part of my job.
I get
I'm in a multinational, and I've got the scope that allows me to contribute towards that.
Yeah.
And I've got the freedom and autonomy to do that.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Your mantra is think, act, lead.
Dream,
Dream,
lead.
Dream, act, lead.
Yeah.
Take me through that. What does that mean for someone who's like just reading that and seeing that?
Yeah.
Is that a process? Are those different actions mutually exclusive? Tell me about that.
They're not mutually exclusive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I posted something the other day, and I said, achieving without dreaming is anti-God. Achieving without dreaming is anti-God. Think the whole nature of God is that you must know there is a God.
Yeah.
How do you know there's a God? Somebody must tell you something is going to happen.
Yes.
And it happens.
Yes.
Which means vision precedes the manifestation.
Come on.
So I start with the dream part, which can be a placeholder for vision, which can be a placeholder for a goal, a placeholder for just a big picture in your head.
Right.
You must see and determine where you want to go, what you want to do.
I get you.
You must have faith
Yeah.
that this is what I believe in,
Yeah.
you know, before you act.
Yeah.
And that's why it starts with the dream.
Yeah.
It starts with the vision.
You know this, that exposure plays a big role.
Yeah.
In how we think and how we project our lives. How does someone growing up in Komatipoort, growing up at Tsolo in the Eastern Cape, KwaNongoma in KwaZulu-Natal, how do they dream big whereas their environment is limited?
This is a very good
What
question.
do they do to break that ceiling in their mind?
What do they do to break the ceiling? So, influence.
Okay.
Which is part of the big motivation why I do what I do, is I've understood the power of influence. Okay. So often people says there are no role models. There are many role models. People are on Facebook, people are on Instagram, watching people do things, and they get inspired from music, from artists that, you know, I can do it like that. I can be like that person. So you don't have to look up to, you know, people say, my father wasn't the example. My brother was not the example.
Right.
But there are many other examples. You can look for a source of inspiration outside your family, outside your community. And today with the networks that we have, there are many people that inspire us. You know, I had a story from a friend of mine who met his childhood hero. This guy, he was one of the first black managing directors in 96, 97 when he came. And he tells the story that back then, he came to the varsity to talk to them, wearing a navy blue suit and a white shirt. And 25 years later, they were having breakfast.
Oh.
And he was telling them the story.
25
that
years
you
later.
came, we were young, the country was just going through the transition, and here is this young black man in a suit, in a country like 1996. Nobody's in this position like we see today. You know, there are no black leaders, there's nobody. And I can be like him. And the conversation, when it came full circle, obviously the incumbent did not know how much inspiration he had just dished out. But he inspired them nevertheless. So there are many examples beyond your family that you can look at. And this is what we are doing. We're trying to build a positive voice, because now I understand that even if it touches one or two people, it will make a difference.
I get you. And now, related to that, the act part, someone is going to say, I want to act on my dreams and vision. I don't have the resources. Africa is poor. There's corruption in South Africa. I'm not connected to anyone special in my family. How do we act and manifest the vision and the dreams where we feel that doors are closed and resources are limited?
You start with what we have. You start where you are. You start with what you have.
Come on.
You know, everybody's got something. And that's where you start. The problem, let me say, is that we all see the final product. We don't see the input.
Okay.
You know, we see the final product, we don't see the input. And often when we tell the story and you say to a person, I started from the bottom and now I'm here. There's a thing called cognitive dissonance. It's this idea that the brain can't hold two opposing thoughts at once. And so people see the success. And when a successful person is telling you their story, and they tell you they were poor, now they're rich, or they struggle and now they're not struggling, you only see the successful part. And you can't imagine that really they're telling you the truth. But for me, the antidote for getting started is starting with what you have. I mean, just earlier on, we were starting about how you started the podcast. With a cell phone.
Right.
Now, when we look around here, we've got equipment. But somebody would have said, I don't even have anything. Just start with a selfie and do it. You know, and so I watch a lot of, I mean, one of the recordings I talk a lot about the hip hop artists. You know, and I say, yes, some of them are big today, but they started in the streets, in the corner of the streets. They started writing rhymes. So we see the guy on the album today, but look at where they started. Unknown, just doing their craft. So with whatever is in your hands, whatever it is, just start like that.
And it goes back to what you said about consistency. Because consistency compounds.
It just keeps on building. Everybody started with a rand, and then you just keep building from there. People think that success is overnight.
Sure. What else do you teach about acting? The act part of your philosophy. What else do you teach about it?
The biggest thing is discipline. It doesn't always feel like it.
Yes.
You see, if you can get over yourself, you can get to where you're going. If you can get over yourself, you can get to where you're going.
Sacrifice your sense of self-importance.
You have to understand, it doesn't always feel like it. You don't always feel like doing it. You know, because emotions, they do that. But when you have a journey to walk, you have to walk. So I am a strong advocate of the power of discipline. That's one of my talks. Is the power of discipline, what it can do for you. That's in the acting part. And then the second big piece is that it's never smooth sailing. It's never smooth sailing. So
and we need to accept that.
We need to accept that. That's life. That's life. You know, if you anticipate that you're going to go on a journey and you think it's going to be smooth, you walk without knowing. You're just, it's going to be smooth, it's going to be whatever. You don't think about what if it rains. You know, but I'm a strong advocate for people to think about whatever goal they've set and whatever journey they want to be, and think about the weather. What will the weather be like? Now, if you know the weather is changing, so put an umbrella in your kitty.
Yeah.
Take some food with you.
Prepare for any eventuality.
And anticipate that it's not going to be smooth sailing
all the time.
And so sometimes we get hit hard because our anticipation is that, oh, I want something, I've dreamt about it, I'm acting, so it's going to be smooth. No, there will be setbacks. How do you bounce back from those?
I hear you, man.
You know, I mean, I failed at school. When I went to because I used to pass, right?
Okay.
I used to be number one and number two. In fact, I was number one most of the time. Growing up in the Bantu school, they still had number one and number two. You know, and when I got to Johannesburg, I thought, no, I mean, I don't need to study. What's the problem? You know, and I did my first test was physics or something like that, and the lecturer came back and said, guys, this is not high school, this is now tertiary, so you need to study. And I thought, she's not talking to me. You know, let the 119 people in the lecture hall go and look at their results. And when I got down there, I had like 45%.
Goodness.
I was thinking, it must be the highest mark.
Hey.
It was a setback.
Wow.
It was because I just imagined I'm going to keep on doing what I've been doing in high school and I'm going to cruise. But I had to learn, no. It's a different thing.
What got you here
is not going to. There. So when did I start going to the library? Not in high school. In Johannesburg. Now I need to do the library. Now I need to do study groups. I changed the strategy.
Right.
And I went from there. I was the top student in my second semester. You know, so that level of anticipation, when I got hit hard. You know, it was the morning session. I just dropped everything and I went back to my apartment and I slept because I'd never failed before. Because I didn't anticipate. But then you bounce back from that and you have to change what you're doing and you just carry on. So on the X side is really discipline and anticipation that it's not going to be smooth.
Your third leg, lead. Talk to me about leadership. What makes a good leader?
A leader is somebody that can spark action into others.
That's strong. Sorry, I'm going to use that on a presentation of mine.
You're going to use it?
I'm going to use it.
You don't have to quote me.
The first time I'll quote you. The second time I'll say, God said. God said.
Yeah, that's what God said, right? That's what God said. That's what God said.
You can spark action in others.
Yeah, spark action in others. It's to ignite. It's to get you to do something.
Right.
You know, so leadership is in many different contexts. I don't believe in telling people where they should be going because people have got different tastes they want to go. You tell me what your dream is. You tell me where you want to go, and let's help you get there. Your destination is your own. It's between you and God. I mean, that's where you want to go. I mean, I can't impose whether you want to achieve that or you want to achieve that. That's really personal. But when you've done that, you know, when you've achieved the leadership level, is you are getting others to take action. You're getting others to move. You're inspiring others. You're taking them to a particular place. You know, so I like what Stephen Covey says. We manage things and we lead people. Which means we set the vision where we believe we need to go, but then we need to inspire action in others. We need to draw the best out of people. I'm a firm believer that, I mean, there are over 6 billion people in the world. And somebody told me, Sibu, it's actually 6 billion now. But look at how many billions there have been already in the world. So the people that have passed on already. So it's many billions that have lived in the world. We are unique. You know, we are different. How do you extract that which is inside each and every person, that unique gift? How do you do that? You can only do it through leadership.
That's good, man.
You can only do it through leadership.
I like
you know,
that.
And really it's about helping people achieve their best potential. Because for me, that's what I believe life is about, is how do you express your gifts and your talents? And as a leader, how do I help to do that? Because when you do that, our results will come. Our impact in society will come. When people are acting. You know, it's just like God. Before God does something, he chooses a man. He chooses a woman. So if you want to see change before, there must be a human being. Which means change cannot come unless the human being moves.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
so how do we get the human beings to move in a positive way to bring about the positive change?
I get you.
You know, and that's leadership. When
you.
you've reached the level of envisioning, dreaming, and acting, the leadership comes.
That's good.
Because your dreaming, your action will start to lead. I mean, I start to get comments now on all the socials. No, you're walking and you don't think. I mean, we started this. I'll tell you how this started. But now it's like, hey, I'm in a conversation. I mean, I'm in church, and then people are saying what I said. I'm like, oh, they're watching.
They're watching.
You know, I'm in a different space, and people are how do you do that?
Yeah.
You know, I've always wanted to do that. My best conversation so far is Sibu. I've always wanted to do what you're doing now.
Wow.
And I'm like, so what were you waiting for? You know, so if I had not moved and made myself vulnerable and put myself in front of a camera, some people would stay in the shadows.
And people don't understand how hard it is to
tough.
do this.
No, it's tough.
To stand on a camera
it's tough. It's tough.
Put a mic to your face and say, I've got something to say.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Guys,
it's not easy. I wasn't going to do it. Honestly, I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a businessman. Actually, I'm a business leader. I've got mentees. I work with youth empowerment organizations in a private space.
Sure.
But in 2021, I had one of my mentees saying, Sibu, I'm fed up. I said, why are you fed up? He says, every time we have a discussion, I wish people were hearing what you were saying. And I said, but this is just for you. I mean, we're just here.
Yeah.
And she said to me, no, this is not fair. I said, what do you mean? She says, it's not fair. So she tried to record me on a voice note.
Yeah.
But it's not easy because we're having a conversation and I keep dropping things and she's like, wow. You know, I'm blown away. And she stops recording because now she wants to listen. So in 2021, in October, she sent me a message. I've booked a studio in Pretoria on 33 Main Road. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Send me a location. I've paid for it.
Yeah.
I've booked 2 hours.
You're going to talk.
You're going to talk. I said, what are you talking about? No, you're going to talk. What am I going to talk about? No, what you always talk about. But I mean, it's not like I have a topic or anything.
Yeah.
And I said, you're going to talk. Talk to who? No, talk to the camera. Say something.
Yeah.
I thought she was joking.
Yeah.
Hey,
just for real.
The days were rolling. The days were rolling. Came Friday.
Yeah.
She said, no, we are ready for tomorrow. Are you I said,
ready?
Are you serious? She said, listen, I've paid money.
You better show up.
You better show up.
This is my money here.
And it's my money here, and I'm not taking a refund.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not about whether you can afford the studio or not, but I'm not taking a refund. So I oblige. That's why I say I'm inspired by my mentees. Because my mentees are the ones that call me every time and say, Sibu, you said this 5 years ago, I'm doing it. You said I should start and doing my PhD. And then I'm like, oh, it mattered. So now I'm intentional about it. I'm no longer unconscious. So I'm like, you know, just because maybe 10 people are not receiving it, but there'll be 2 or 3 that receive it, it matters to those. So you start to go with the ones who are going. So there I was in Pretoria. I went to the studio. Now I'm sitting. And so what am I saying talk about? So in my phone, when I get ideas, I used to write them down.
Sure.
And when I put dream, I found 5 or 6 different notes. So I love to start with dreaming.
Great.
And then I did something on dreaming.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how I recorded.
That's great.
And I recorded. I thought I was going to be there for 5 minutes. I was there for 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Talking about dreaming and achieving.
Yeah.
And then we shelved it. And a couple of months back, you know, only then did we start to mine the content from 2 years ago.
Amazing.
You know, so that's what I mean. I'm inspired by my mentees.
Awesome stuff. Stuff. If you were sitting with the South African cabinet in a boardroom, President is here, the ministers are here, and you want to address them about some issues that are bothering you in South Africa, which issues would you address, and what would you say to them in this context of our leadership discussion?
Yeah.
Tough
Look,
one.
It's a tough one, right? I mean, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a really tough one, but it's actually easy. If you ask me what's bothering me, right? I mean, there are many topics in the country today,
Sure.
right? But what if I had one thing to say to our leadership in the country was focusing on the youth.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Giving youth the access.
Yeah.
You know, passing the baton. You know, and at some point you have to realize that for you to build the future,
Yes.
you need people to build the future.
Yes.
You know, so we need to be more intentional around what are we doing with developing young people.
Get you, man.
You know, because think about it, in 20 years they'll be 20 years older. So I like to say it's like this: how do you shoot a moving target? You don't shoot where it's at, you shoot where it's going. So today the young person does not look like they can give you value today.
That's strong, man.
You know, they don't give you value today. But remember, look at where they're going.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so it's hard to invest. Investing is hard because when you invest today, you don't see the fruit today.
Sure. Guys, you need to do a video just on that. Shooting a target where it's going, you know where it's at.
We've got that. Yeah.
It's powerful.
That's how you shoot a moving target, you know?
Wow.
So now it's hard to say, guys, at some point, let's stop now and invest into the future. I mean, you're a parent, you know.
Yeah.
At some point, you stop putting into yourself. Of course, you make time, you invest in yourself. But you start to dedicate significant portion of your resources to your children.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
school fees,
Yes.
all the time,
Yes.
all the investment. Some of the school fees are rivaling cars and bonds today.
Bruh.
Because now you're redirecting your investment
Resources.
to the future.
And as young as they are, I must think when they get to tertiary level, there gotta be money.
There has to be.
They can't ask me, Dad, didn't you know we'll be here finishing matric?
You can't secure the future. You know, I mean, if I was addressing the cabinet, I would be saying we cannot secure the future without securing the youth of today. Because they are the future. And that's why I'm passionate about giving back, about guiding young people. Because if you close your eyes and you blink, tomorrow it's like that.
Yeah. Time flies.
Time flies. We grew up saying Malou, Memkulu and whatever. Now when I go home, they call me Malou.
Grootman. We are there now.
When there's a problem at home, now my father is calling me.
Yay.
Hey, Sibu, when are you coming? We need to talk about this.
Hey.
I'm actually old now. You know what I mean? And so, but things are reversing now. If I'm aging, hey, it means there's another crew that's coming through. So if I had one moment with the cabinet, I'd be talking about the youth. Awesome. I mean, in December, we are hosting a young leader seminar in the township where I come from, you know, because I'm really passionate about this. One day, lunch with the leaders, just talking to them.
Get you.
Over lunch.
What should they do with the youth? Yes, let's address the youth. Let us invest in the youth. It's the future of the country. What do you feel we should be doing specifically to and with the youth?
We should be upskilling them. We should be giving them opportunities. You know, we should be upskilling them, and we should not be afraid to spend money on them. You know, I mean, I'll give you an example that we started to work on. It's not fully material yet, but drone technology. Yeah. Do you know that there are some technologies that were born after democracy? Drone technology is one of them. And if we're not careful about drone technology, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years later, we're going to be talking about empowerment in drone technology. When the industry was born, where we had all the same advantage. Okay? But we didn't invest in it. So early enough, we are just watching it invest. Other people invest in it, bring the solution. And when it's now crystallized as a full business model, when you're sitting here and the drone is dropping here and delivering everything, that's when people are going to think, it's now making money, and therefore it's all, the youth are not represented in the drone industry, we must go for the... We have the opportunity today. So on Twitter I go by 1,000 young drone pilots. Because I've got this vision. What would happen? What would happen if we took 1,000 young people and trained them how to use drones today, and just see what they do with it? Give each one of them a drone and train them how to use the drone, and let them find the business models that work.
The idea will grow in
their hands. You know, people always refer to the US and some of these countries. Free access to Wi-Fi.
Big issues.
Enabler.
Yes.
Big enabler. Because when they're sitting, all of a sudden they are not. You know, there are people today, young people today that can't afford data. People don't think about it because we've got fiber, we've got problems. But when you immerse yourself in some of the challenges they have, those are the issues. Definitely spend money on them. For me, Wi-Fi, for instance, is one of the most pragmatic enablers we can have in today's age. Why are we not pouring money into that?
It's powerful. Powerful. That's good. My last question, as a father to two beautiful kids, what's your vision for them and your father in this day and time? And you know, you touch a bit on which phase of fathering you're at. I'm at a phase where my eldest is 11, so pre-teen. I'm starting to see that personality develop now and morph into something else. I realize I need to be more intentional in the conversations I have with him.
Yes.
So that's the phase I'm at with him, and then I've got an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. But as a father, where's your thinking at? Where's your head at?
Yeah, fathering is in Swati there's a saying, "Kula nitobona." I don't know what they mean. You should grow up and you will see. So when you grow up, we're like, oh, man, in my house, this will not happen. My children. No, but this is his life. So I think as a father, I've had to learn not to push for being a perfect father, but a present one. Not a perfect one, but a present. Because it's the presence that gives the confidence to the children. It's when they say my dad.
Those words.
They can be in Soweto, they can be in Sandhurst. But when they know the material things are going to disappear,
lose them.
They need your blessing, your word. My father said.
Yes.
That's what sustains them beyond you.
My father taught me.
My father taught me. My father said to me, this is what it means. So I'm trying to focus on, yes, I provide, but I'm trying to focus on what I tell my kids. Because today, I remember what my father said. I mean, last week I was just quoting my dad. I wrote him top 10 quotes for my father.
Oh, wow.
And I sent him back to them. I'm actually going to post them next week. And one of them was, don't buy an expensive bed on credit because it's going to steal your sleep.
Love that. Love that. Gold.
Like you're buying an expensive bed on credit, thinking you're gonna sleep. No, the debt is gonna steal your sleep. You know. So every time I want to make debt, I'm thinking about my father asking me, you know, can you really afford this? You know. So those words from my dad, they keep me going.
Right.
So fathering for me is about depositing a long-lasting blessing in my kids, and not just material. Fathering is about being there for them.
Sure.
And obviously affording them a life where they can choose.
Yes.
You know, I would love my children to be able to choose what they want to do, not because they want to survive, but because they can choose what they want to do and still survive.
Yes.
And still live.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I want to be able to give them the choice to say, this is what I want to do, without thinking I need to be doing this so I can earn money so I can live. No. For me, if I can afford them more freedom of choice
and options,
you know, so those are my pillars in terms of my family.
Awesome,
but it's not perfect. I think a lot of us put ourselves under pressure of being perfect, but I just try to be present with all that I am.
I love that.
You know, because fathering is not perfect. I mean, these people, my son is 10 now. And almost like yours. And I mean, he starts to change. You know, and you think he's still a young boy, but now he's telling you
this morph and
it's like, Dad, you said this. Like, hey, what's happening? Okay, my daughter is almost 4, so we are still having a nice conversation. But my son starts to challenge things, you know. So that's what I would say about fathering.
That's great, man. I love that. Thank you so much, man, for being here. Awesome, man. Man, it's been enlightening. It's been inspirational to talk to you. I've been challenged personally in many things. Thank you so much for coming through. We're looking forward to what you're going to bring and what you're going to do. I'm looking forward to that book that's coming.
Yeah, yeah,
In the
yeah.
name of Jesus. We speak
In
it.
the name of Jesus, you know. But you have to go step by step,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of course.
I mean, you have to build the voice.
Yeah, you can't just jump into it.
You can't just jump into it. But
man.
we're going step by step.
Great stuff,
we're not in a rush. But really, it's all about sharing lessons from the journey that I've had, the journey that I'm having.
Yes.
And I've decided you can't wait until. So I'm still building my career. I'm still building my business, but I think I can share.
Yes.
I can give a peep.
Yeah.
You know, and I can impact somebody.
Yeah. And well done for that and that vulnerability to put yourself out there.
Absolutely. When we let our light shine, we allow other people's light to shine too.
Oh, perfect way to close. Hey, bars, guys.
On that bombshell.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to resist the temptation to dig deep into that question. You're not going to go there. You have to come back. You have to come back. Now you have to come back.
No. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
Awesome stuff.
And all the best for the podcast.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Sibu Hlatshwayo. Get him on his social media accounts. And they are there on the screen. You're going to see them. An amazing thought leader that can add value to your company, to your personal life, and all of that. And I heard him speak about mentees. So if you're looking for mentorship, he can be able to help you as well. So get in touch with them. Please, I remind you again, click on the button that says like. Right now, do it. Click on subscribe. Share this video with people that you know are going to benefit. And by doing that, you are helping this kind of content, this life-giving content, reach more people. From Dubiso Mazibuko, your host, and the guest on Intimate Moments with Sibu Hlatshwayo. God bless you. What's up?
Bong, thank you. Oh, wow.